Look at that. Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to the 2 Alpha Ham Radio Podcast live edition. I guess this is like really the first Monday where we're gonna talk about some stuff. And Nathan is in the house. Good to see you, my brother. Glock 19, pants on, guns on, IWB. Glock 19 or Glock 21 from Justin. Good to see you guys. Man, got a lot to unpack today. Ooh, hang on here. I gotta do that. Ears are itching under these things, but you gotta wear them when you do these lives, especially if I get a guest, if I get something, something unexpected in there, you gotta do that. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you, and welcome. I think we're just gonna jump into it here. Let me see if I can't get my, let me get my screen over here to the Safari. Let's see, what do we want to talk about first, really? Let's talk about this SCOTUS deal. And let me pull up my little screen here. The SCOTUS turning away all these challenges, post-Bruin challenges, to the Bruin decision. Really, what this, to me, kind of amounts to is, number one, we know all these states, California, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, they're all thumbing their nose at the SCOTUS, and they think that, you know what, we'll just ignore it. We'll pass more laws, and we will become more tyrannical against our citizens, against our subjects, actually, because they're really not citizens. A citizen is able to to live their life and live according to the law of the land, and these places really, I mean, they're nanny states, and they're giveaway states. They try to buy the votes and buy their citizens' freedom, in a sense. Let's see. Man, we got a lot of guys want to chime in, I guess, on the EDC. And I forgot to bring my EDC into the studio, into Studio A today. But anyway, let me explain, or let's dive into the SCOTUS decision here really quick. Man, I'm back on Twitter. I'm back on Twitter since Elon bought it, and really, you don't have to be as afraid. Well, I wasn't afraid. I didn't really give a shit if I got kicked off or what, because I really didn't use it, and I hadn't even looked at Twitter for years because it was a woke. Wow, I got something in my eye here. It's killing me. It was like just a woke, I don't know, garbage platform. I think now you've got more real people there. I follow this guy, Rob Romano, and he stays on top of 2A stuff. Just, like a champ. I think a lot of the other guys, a lot of the big 2A channels, they get their, I think they get a lot of information from Rob here. This guy is truly a policy wonk, which is awesome, on the 2A platform here. So, we've got a lot of stuff here. The magazine ban, here's letters and lawsuits. lots of lawsuits challenging New Jersey's new ban, Illinois' new ban. Let's see here. This one is, this is New Jersey and New York's. Is it really a surprise that that the SCOTUS is kind of pushing this stuff off? I don't know if they're on purpose brushing off these challenges to these new tyrannical laws. I would think this is a very easy time in the, when they're passing these laws, that the district courts, and it seems like a lot of these district courts are getting it right, putting in injunctions right away. Hey, you know what? You can't institute this crap. You can't institute these things that post Bruin on their face seem unconstitutional, and that plaintiff, FPC, GOA, whoever, you have a good chance of prevailing. So really, where does that leave us? It leaves us, these states, they go to their state Supreme Court or their district, like the Ninth, and they've installed, a majority of these liberal activists who don't like the Second Amendment anyway. So they say, well, you know what? We're just not going to partake, and we're gonna quash the injunction. So really, once that happens, the only recourse that a plaintiff would have, because, honestly, I honestly think the first one that happened was this New York case. And the New York case, it was pretty narrow. They got a injunction I don't know if it was a TRO or an injunction. I can't remember offhand, because I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a policy wonk. I'm a retired cop and a Second Amendment activist and a gun trainer. District federal court places an injunction on the state implementing certain parts or many parts of their new law. They're like the second district Supreme Court, whatever. They come back and say, yeah, you know what? We're not going to give you a reason, but we're going to put a stay on that injunction. So New York, go ahead and put in whatever you want to do. Just go ahead and institute it. I think that's wrong. There hasn't been a law. And so what's the harm to the defendant to say, you know what, you haven't done this before. This is new. There's a challenge. We're going to wait until we hear all the evidence and there's a decision made. And then we'll figure out what we're going to do about it. But no, they don't, because they're activist courts. And the activist courts go ahead and let the tyranny ride as it will be. So the plaintiffs take it to the Supreme Court. Seems perfectly reasonable. I didn't really even know about the whole, emergency thing, because I don't know the inner workings of the Supreme Court. But the Supremes come down, and Sotomayor, who's the justice in charge of the emergency hearings or the emergency pleadings that come in to, I guess, or from the second, or maybe she's the on-call justice for all the emergency TROs and all that stuff. Anyway, she says, nah, I'm not going to hear it. Somehow, and I don't know the inner workings of the Supreme Court, but the other justices get to chime in. And so Justice Thomas, he gets to write his dissenting opinion. I don't even know if it's a dissenting opinion, but it's part of it, and says, look, we're going to give the second, we're going to give the lower court time to make this good. And I understand what New York's, what their playbook was, is tie this thing up. You get the second to put a hold on, or God, I'm confused now, to put a hold on the injunction that was coming from the district court, and then sit on it for years, because you've got more important things to do, right, than to deal with the Constitution. So that was their plan. I have no doubt that was the plan. Anyway, I think Justice Thomas kind of put it in their ear that, hey, we're not going to do anything right now because we're going to give you, the second, a chance to do the right thing and to hear this case, and have a hearing, have an actual hearing, and hear this case and do the right thing. Make a ruling on the merits, not on your jump the gun, no decision. And I think we're hearing, I guess there's some other gun cases that, FPC, GOA, and some of these other plaintiffs are trying to get through, and they've made challenges all the way up to the Supreme Court. And is it any surprise really that the Supremes are putting this off? I mean, look, it was 20 or 30 years ago that Heller even, took place, that we had the Heller decision. And the media and governments went crazy with, you could keep a gun in your house, but you don't have a right to carry it. You don't have a right to protect yourself. Well, 20, 30 years later now, we get a little clarification from the Supremes, and you would think that everybody would lick their wounds and go home and live by the law. But we see in these activist states, in these leftard activist states, that they won't do that. They're going to punish their own people. Not even, they can't punish the rest of us in America. So they're going to punish their own subjects and say, well, screw you, New Yorkers. You want to carry a gun. Well, we're just going to make it impossible for you to carry a gun almost anywhere. California has done this. California did this immediately after Bruin. They became a shall issue state and immediately passed new legislation that, you can't carry within 1,000 yards of a school. You can't carry here. You can't carry, you can't carry in a restaurant that serves alcohol. Can't carry, New York went even further up that hill than California did. Doesn't really surprise me, but these things are blatantly unconstitutional, and I think these states are literally trying to bide time. They know that it takes years and years and years to make it through the court system. The wheels of justice don't turn quickly, ever. And so if you could just pass a law and you wait till the lawsuits are filed, and you appeal. The assault weapons case in California, the magazine ban in California, the ammo ban in California, all these things were passed, and I don't know, and it's taken that long for these things to make their way, to wind their way through the justice system and get all the way up to the Supreme Court, which now, post-Bruin, has kicked them all back down to those lower courts. Those lower courts, in turn, kicked them back down to the district courts where they started. Well, St. Benitez, he's going to come up with the same ruling that he came up with the last time, because he used text, history, and tradition to make his first ruling. The ninth, in their 3-judge panel, agreed with him and said, "Yeah, you're right." And these weren't just like 3 conservative judges; these were a mix of of left and right leaning judges, but they used the law. Now, California went through, and the full ninth, the en banc ninth, they basically sided with the state of California and said, yeah, there's a compelling state interest here. Well, now we know that the compelling state interest doesn't matter. It's the law is, the Constitution is, we the people, the individual, and the individual's right to protect themselves and to carry in and out of the home. Let me go ahead. We'll take a quick look at the chats here. Let's see. Sean says, I was never much of a Glock guy. I only got a good deal on a Glock 48. Too good to pass up. I have to admit, it's a nice shooter. And K3RJZ or JRZ says, Delaware's mag ban. Yeah, it's all the same. It's all the same kind of thing. Let's see. What does the 7th or FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition? Guys, I got to say, we have to support these organizations that are doing the trench work. Now, years and years ago, I became a life member of the NRA. I haven't given them any money for several years. And honestly, they used to call me and email me constantly. I haven't even heard from the NRA in I don't know how long. But FPC is doing God's work. GOA is doing God's work. I don't know who else out there is doing it, but they are doing it. And we have, it seems, more and more people supporting the Second Amendment, which is no less important than the First Amendment, no less important than the Fourth Amendment. Your right to not be searched unreasonably. Your right to the Fifth Amendment, to the 14th Amendment, all the important ones. The Second Amendment is the one thing that allows us to keep everything else going. Because honestly, do you think for a minute, if we didn't have a Second Amendment and the government had, say, disarmed us 50 years ago, do you think that the First Amendment would hold? No. We would be prosecuted for hate speech and, unpopular speech. Do you think that the Fifth Amendment would still be applicable? No, the Constitution would just be a dusty old piece of paper, and the lawmakers, the elites, would tell us the rules that we were going to live by. That's something that no other country on earth has, is a constitution that is written in granite, and a Second Amendment that protects us from the government, or enables us to protect ourselves from the government. Let's see. Ed Griffin says the NRA doesn't hold a candle to GOA, FPC, and some of the others. And let me throw that up there somewhere on my, it changed my screen. Oh, crap. I didn't want that. We'll put that back up. Let's see. The same. I'm also a life member of the NRA and switched to supporting GOA and FPC. Yeah. Like I was saying, guys, man, we got to give our money. We got to give money to these guys because I know FPC, it's a law firm. It is a pro 2A law firm, and they're out there doing the dirty work. They are filing the lawsuits. I used to think that it was like California concentric when I lived in California, because all you would hear about were the lawsuits that were being filed against California. And here I see that, man, they're filing lawsuits on behalf of people in all kinds of states. And I just want to say, guys, we have to support them. We've got to really support these guys. Anyway, I see there's a whole lot of you guys that want to talk about EDC. So let's switch over. Let me go to camera 1. And, yep, there I'm at. Camera 1. I do want to talk about EDC. I want to talk about what do you carry? What do you like to carry? How often do you carry? I carry every day, and I don't carry the same tools with me every day. Kind of things change depending upon the weather, depending upon the time of year. I carry a Glock 19 with me lately. And I do that because I like the, number one, I do it because it's a good firing gun. It's reliable, super reliable. Mine, I've got one of Sonny's Stage 5 triggers on it, and it still doesn't hold a candle to any of the 1911s that I own. But I stopped carrying a 1911 back in when I was in California in the last couple of years when I was in California, just because of round count. It was more important to me to have those 15 rounds than it was to be able to punch huge holes in my target for years and years and years. And I'm still a huge 1911 fan. I own several 1911s, a lot of Springfields. I'm a big Springfield Armory fan. Guess you could call me a fanboy of Springfield Armory. I hated Glocks. Never owned a Glock. Never liked a Glock for years and years and years. And then I went in, a friend of mine started a new company called BDS Technologies. And if you're in the Northern California area, he's a CCW trainer, and he also has the TI. It's kind of a shoot house, or a it's, oh God, I'm blanking on it now. The video system where you can walk into a scenario and you have a shoot or no shoot situation. You can induce failures, all that stuff. Well, anyway, his whole thing, the trailer, as he calls it, it's all Glock based, and the company that puts the equipment out, they've designed everything around a Glock, and they use real Glock firearms, but they're modified to work, gas blowback and everything. So you get recoil, you get sound, you get all that stuff, but you're in a trailer and you're not firing projectiles, but you get great training. Anyway, went in to help him. I became a USCCA firearms instructor, or counselor, as they like to call it. And, I had done tons and tons of training, 28 years with the sheriff's department in Northern California. So all those years I was not a fan of Glock. Anyway, my friend Brian talked me into buying a Glock 17, and I hated it. It was just ugly as sin. And so I spent about $2,000 customizing this thing and making it kind of pretty. The fluted barrel. Now I've got a threaded barrel on it because I don't live in the People's Republic anymore. So all kinds of cool stuff that I've added to it. But anyway, let me come down here. A big part of when we carry and how we carry is related to your holster. This is my box of holsters. And I'm going to pull this up a little bit here. And, 1911 holsters. That's a Kydex. Here's a Kydex holster. There's a Kydex holster for my Glock 17 with a light. Let's see. Some paddle holsters here. I'm an outside the waistband guy. Crossbreed holster here. This one is for my Hellcat, and I've got a basically identical one for the Glock 19. Here's a 1911 holster for 1911 holster. This is the what do you call them? The Blackhawk Serpa. It's a level two holster. Anyway, let me come back to camera one here. I have tried, and I still continue to try, a lot of different holsters. And I do this. Let me put that down. I do that because I'm always looking for the perfect holster. Technology changes, things change. For years and years and years, when I was working detectives, and then after I retired from full-time, went back to work in our civil division, basically you're working as a detective, I would carry those Blackhawk Serpas. And it wasn't because I thought that they were a wonderful holster. They're an okay holster, but we needed at least a level of retention. And so those were basically prescribed. So if you were working that kind of an assignment, you were going to carry a level 2 holster. And those are level 2 holsters. On duty, for duty stuff, we had level 3 holsters where you had your brake and a thumb snap and a brake to be able to pull your duty weapon. And that was prescribed. So not necessarily the best things on the market, but those were policy. So you had to follow the policy. Now as a free agent here in the great state of Idaho, I could pick and choose how I want to carry, where I want to carry. And I honestly, I carry everywhere. If I leave the house at all, I've got a gun on me. Now, right now, my two go-to carry guns are the Glock 19, because I had that one. I custom built that, and it is primo for a Glock 19. The thing is primo. I have the Holosun 507C on it, which is a fantastic little red dot. And then I bought a Hellcat. First gun I bought here as a citizen in Idaho because I couldn't get one in California. I didn't even know they existed. I just happened to go to the hardware store. I saw it sitting there and I went, wow, that's kind of cute. And 14 rounds in a 9mm. Fantastic. Sign me up. And I bought it and took it home. I put a little Swamp Fox red dot on it, which is okay. I'm not a huge fan of the Swamp Fox. And I'm actually looking for another Holosun to replace that Swamp Fox. The Glock 17 that I've got an RMR on that. I spared no expense, made that thing kind of battle ready, and I hate the RMR. It doesn't hold a candle to a Holosun, so that will eventually get swapped out for the Holosun on that one. Let's see. Let's go to a couple of questions and comments here. Heller was in Heller 2008, not 20 or 30 years ago. I stand corrected. It just seems like it. Actually, 2008. 15 years ago ish. So, all right. Epstein didn't kill himself. Garrett says Epstein didn't kill himself. Well, thank you, Garrett. Epstein didn't kill himself. Wow. Let's see. Heller was 2008. Pair of Black Ops 1911. 14 rounds. Sweet. Is that reload and charge? Is that a 9mm or is that a 45? Because I'm actually looking right now. I'm looking at picking up a 2011, and I want to go back to the 1911 style firearm, single action or single double. And I really, really like the 1911s. I don't think there's a Glock out there that has a trigger that can equal, I'm not going to say a cheap 1911, but a decent 1911. So I'm looking for, I don't know, a Wilson, a Nighthawk or something, I don't know, on the better side of a 2011. I want to get 15 rounds in a 9mm, because 9mm, the ammo's come a long way, my friends. Wow, whole long way. Let's see, SFC Mac. Sorry I'm late. Did I miss much? Nope, you haven't missed much. We got 27 eyes in the house. 11 thumbs up for the inaugural. We're talking about something here. on the 2 Alpha Ham Radio podcast. So, yeah, get them thumbs up going. Green Force Tactical, best holsters. See, this is what I want to hear. What do you guys suggest out there? Green Force Tactical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you up there. And I think I'll give them a look up. I'll check out their holsters. Because like I said, I'm carrying, I always seem to go back to leather. I just like it. Like there's a 1911 holster that I use quite a bit. And crossbreed, I tried one of these, because I wanted leather. This is for the Glock again. And these are all lefties. Mind you, they're all lefties. With the blended, I think it's their hybrid or something. It's okay. I wasn't really pleased with it, but I don't give up. These, believe it or not, these cheap little leather holsters, I have found that I keep coming back to things like this. And that is, God, that's for another Springfield that I own. Let's see. Thomas says, big SIG fan. From the 365 M18 to the 226, I probably have more holsters than my wife has purses. And from carrying over 35 years, I find outside the waistband works much better. Yep. For me too. And if I was a little skinny guy, maybe I'd try inside the waistband, and I've tried it. I've used it in my skinnier days, and they're just not as comfortable. They're not very comfortable when you're sitting, when you're wearing it for an entire day, long periods of time. And I mean, when I say I wear mine everywhere I go, I mean it. Everywhere I go. If I'm outside the house, I've got one on. Because we also have varmints around here. And sometimes the varmints need around. And let me see if I could get my mouse working here. Maybe I can't. I don't know. There it is. I want to move up. Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Yep, absolutely. That is from the Loto Ham. That's one of my everyday mottos. I would rather have it and not need it. And speaking of EDC, so let's see. We got about 20 more minutes in the hour here. Speaking of EDC, what do you guys want to talk about for EDC? EDC doesn't just maybe mean what gun you're packing, if you are. I also, EDC is, I carry a pocket knife with me everywhere, almost everywhere I go. I'll switch between this. This is a great little knife here. I picked this up at Sportsman's Warehouse. I lost a good ZT knife that I had for a long time. It was an everyday knife. What I like about this is it's super, super thin. And it doesn't bulk up in my pocket. So more EDC. Whoa, what happened here? We just lost the camera. We'll go over here for the moment. And holy crap. Sorry, guys. let me come back over to camera 1 and okay, we're back, I think. Hopefully, let's see. All right. All right, are we back now? Looks like it. Damn, I hate that. Been carrying a Strider for years. I don't know what the Strider is, but I'm a huge knife whore. I am. I have a box of knives over there, some high end stuff. Well, okay, I don't want to say high end because the high end guys are like $2,000-$3,000, and I don't have any of those. But I have several of them that cost several $100s. Let's see. Leather fits against your body more comfortably. Benchmade knives go with me. And the other thing, do you guys carry an extra magazine or magazines with you on the regular, or only when you think you might need it? That's one thing since I moved here to Idaho, and I carry a little bit more in the round capacity than generally in California. When I was the 1911 guy, especially on duty, I carried five extra magazines with me. Because the magazines for a full size 1911 are 7-8 rounds, or 7-round magazines of 45. So I carried five extra magazines, 6 in total, one that was cocked and locked. Nathan says that he has a spare magazine in his EDC bag, but not on his person. The Loto Ham, 2 is 1, 1 is none. Yeah, well, and I guess I really don't have a big excuse other than I live in a place that is so much safer than California. Justin, he says he's always got a spare mag. That's good. You know what? If you guys are carrying, if you're carrying at least a spare mag with you, you find out, or on a daily basis, especially in the summer, when it's hot, when it's 100 degrees, it's hard to hide it. It's hard to hide the gun. And I'm not a fan of carrying open. So I just won't. Because you're always playing defense, and if a bad guy's there and he sees that you're armed, you've become a target. You might be the first guy that he tries to take out by surprise before he launches the other attack. So I've never been a fan of carrying open, other than when I was, working the street. Then you did. Then you were carrying open. Do I switch out my carry ammo once a year? That's a great question. Thomas asks, do you switch out your carry ammo once a year? I do. And oh God. Okay. Camera 1 has just taken a complete dump on me. So I don't know what is going on. It's I think it's heating up, and I don't know why. So we'll go to camera 2 here for a few minutes. We'll let camera 1 cool off, and we'll do it like that. Wow. Do I? Yeah, I do. I will shoot up my I'll shoot up my carry ammo, whatever I'm carrying in the gun, because it'll get dust bunnies, it'll get the dirt and filth and everything from everyday use, and go ahead and load up another primary mag, and and taking that duty or that carry ammo out to the range with you at least once a year and shooting that, it gives you a good perspective, because we're all used to shooting ball ammo at targets, and so you get used to the feel of ball ammo, and that carry ammo packs more of a punch, it packs a better punch, and it shoots differently than the ball ammo. So yeah, I do, but it is expensive, so I don't shoot it all the time. Let's see. What else? Anything that I'm missing? Shoot my ammo during qualifying, so it's always fairly new. Yeah, at least, you know what? If you're qualifying for a CCW and you qualify once a year, it's a great time to shoot up that duty ammo and reload it with some fresh stuff. Let's see, the SFC Mac says that he rotates his magazine monthly and he resprings them once a year. Probably a good idea. I don't know if they need to be resprung once a year. I mean, unless you're a competition shooter and that's like your competition pistol. Hang on here. Let me see if I can't get this thing to focus a little bit better. I'm sorry, guys. Camera one never takes a dump on me, and it just did. It's taken a bad hop on me. So, you know what? When you guys, when you subscribe, especially when you guys help me out a little bit on the financial side, this is the kind of stuff that I fix. These cameras, they're not cheap. So then I can afford to grab a new one every once in a while and kind of keep the thing going. Let's see. Sounds like it's time for camera one to be replaced. Yeah, camera one was a fairly expensive Sony. An RX 100. This is like a Mark III. And then I have the Mark 7, which is my main camera when I'm shooting the videos. Let's see. Yes, I got action. Okay, so yeah, the SFC Mac. He's a competition shooter, so I could see that for competition, because you don't want you're generally not gonna have failures in your magazines now, unless you're carrying like a 1911. I used to rebuild those magazines for the 1911 on a semi-annual basis because I don't know. Camera one at 15 yards, bang. Yeah, you know what? Today's the first day that this thing is crapped out on me ever. I don't know why. It just is. It just decided to start crapping out. So I don't know. Let's see. What else did we want to talk about today? Let me run back. Oh, you know what? Hey, let's bring in a little bit of ham radio to end out, to round everything out. And everybody, nobody minds doing a little ham radio talk at this point. I recently read a an article here on a Facebook group, the Ham Radio Facebook group. I hate putting guys on the spot, but this guy here, I mean, he posted it in a public forum, so I guess, hey, let's talk about it. I have long been a defender of the ARRL. They've done a lot for the hobby over the years. What has happened to them lately? As a paying member, I need to get more than just QST. Lately, it seems like nobody is in charge there, and if they are, then they're asleep at the wheel. Can we get some decent customer service and support? What are my dues paying for? Well, last year, I would say that I didn't really have much to bitch about because I wasn't a member. A few years back, I quit paying my dues and let it lapse. And I would get, 3-4 times a year, I'd get a, hey, come join the ARRL. Kind of almost as if I hadn't even ever been there. Kind of interesting. But this year, or actually, last month, right before the end of the year, I paid my $48, $50, and I rejoined. So I now have a dog in the fight once again. What do you get? Why did I join after not have been an ARRL member? And K3RJRZ kind of has it on, kind of hit it on the head. I still do LOTW and as well as EQSL. Well, you know what? I pay EQSL every year to support them and to be on their site. And I kind of figured this year I will give the ARRL my money to support them for LOTW and a few of the other things that they do. They do good things for ham radio. So I'm not saying don't join them. But then I read, very recently, I read things like, from a longtime supporter, what are they doing for us? What have you done for me lately? Guys, if I think we need to hold the ARRL a little bit more accountable. We do pay for it. And so I think maybe somehow we need to let it be known to them that, hey, we're coming to a point in our relationship where you guys need to do something or you won't get the support. I think LOTW's been good once you get it down, and it does take a little bit of getting it to work right. It is very archaic. It does need a total rewrite. And I heard maybe that they were working on something. Don't know. That would be a very good start if they could revamp LOTW, make it easier to get on, make it easier to use. And I get it that they want to verify that it's a real person and it's the person who's sending out the QSL. And I think it's fairly easy to do that in today's terms. 10 years ago, when LOTW was around 10 years ago, probably not the same, especially doing things over the computer. It wasn't as secure, and there was probably a lot more fraud. Now, do you have a ton of people who want to defraud the LOTW system? Probably not. Probably it's probably in the tens of people who would like to defraud the system. KJRZ says it needs to be redone. Its legacy needs to be modernized. Absolutely, I agree. And that's one of the problems that I see with the ARRL is they're not for a hobby and an activity that kind of prides itself on having the best and the brightest in the room. It doesn't seem like they're in a big hurry to do what's right and to make things the best they could be. It took COVID to push the ARRL into doing online testing, and there's so many better ways to do online testing. And I haven't been very active I haven't been active at all in the VE thing. And I was a VE until I didn't renew my VE credentials. But it wasn't a priority of the ARRL at all in making this happen, in promoting, say, online testing, and probably not a huge incentive for them to fix up LOTW, which I think is probably the main reason I paid my dues and rejoined the ARRL. It's because I felt guilty. Personally, I felt like, you know what? I'm using this system. I should be supporting this system. I've given up long ago that the ARRL is an advocacy group for ham radio. When I had my little falling out with them 3-4 years ago, I realized that they have no interest in really advocating for ham radio. They make a show of it, but they really don't want to get their hands dirty. They don't want to piss off their friends at a governor's office or some state agency because, they think, oh, if we piss them off, we won't have a seat at the table. Well, if you don't piss them off, you don't really have a seat at the table anyway. They just don't care. They'll dismiss you. Let's see. I, too, am a member of the ARRL. I think they are to ham radio what the NRA, GOA is to gun control. I think the ARRL is more to ham radio than the NRA is in relevant times. I can't classify the NRA and GOA in the same sentence. GOA is stepping up to the plate, and they are really doing things that are good for the Constitution, good for the people. Let me turn that a little bit. ARRL, they've got some good programs, good educational programs, LOTW, but it falls mainly, the programs that they do have fall mainly to their to the states or the district kind of offices. I think having W1AW is of little benefit to the rest of the membership. What VEC am I with? I was with the Sacramento Valley VE group that was sponsored by the W6EK club. I never got involved once I moved out to Idaho, and when I renewed my license, what was it, last year or the year before, I never bothered renewing the VE credentials. I've got them in the closet back there. But anyway, hey guys, 1,300 hours, which means we've been going for an hour. And I've been gabbing for an hour. This has been kind of fun. What do you guys think? Let me know. Here's what I'm going to do. This, kind of resides on YouTube. I'm going to pull the tape, so to speak. I'm going to post it to Rumble. And we'll use it as, a podcast. Please, I would love it if you want to comment afterwards. If you would go to Rumble. What I'm going to do is I'm going to suggest in the comments or in the something that you don't watch it on YouTube. You go to Rumble and watch it. I really want to push those guys. It's a small-ish up-and-coming platform. And if you are like me and you're free-thinking and you love the Constitution, I think Rumble is the place that we need to have our conversations. Unfortunately, I can't get a live chat up on Rumble if I use their live site. I think that's something I'll talk to them and see if they can't, figure that out, because that, to me, that's a pretty important aspect of this whole live thing, is the fact that I get to talk to you, you get to talk to me, and next week maybe we'll open this thing up on the phone lines. I would love to do that again. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, guys, if there's nothing else in the room here, I think we're going to go ahead and kind of call this a show. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. I know there wasn't a lot of you, but I could see that the lot of you that were here are pretty passionate about the Second Amendment. Please leave me a comment. Let me know. Give me some ideas for shows, topics that you want to hear. Anyway, my friends, thank you, and we'll see you next time.